Hello, everyone. If you like to read a book, or if you want to understand things, you want to learn more about life, existence, creation, meaning for your existence, and so forth, there's one mistake many philosophers make, and that is in making it complicated. Here's why. For example, let's say we have a very complicated problem. If you think very complicated, you cannot solve a complicated problem. It can be a problem in mathematics. It can be a problem in physics. It can be a social problem. Now, what does that mean? It means the following. If you want to fix a problem, whether the problem is complicated or easy, or maybe I shouldn't say easy, because what is easy for me may not be easy for you. What is easy for you may not be easy for me. But in order to explain, in order to try to describe something, we break that something into steps, into procedures. When an airline pilot will take off with his plane, he goes through a checklist. When a medical doctor is treating a patient, it follows a set of protocols and a set of instructions. And then later it can lead to surgery and so forth. So what is important for us to understand here is that in order to understand, describe something complicated, and try to fix the problem, if we think about it in a complicated manner, we cannot do it. It's like solving a puzzle. You put some pieces together and others together. You separate the pieces of the puzzle. And then later you put all the pieces together and they form the puzzle. So we can only solve problems if we break it into steps, if we follow a set of protocols, if we follow a checklist. It's like an airline pilot has a checklist that he follows before he says, okay, we're clear to take off. So what is really important here to understand is that one of the mistakes some philosophers make, actually a lot of them make that mistake, is that they try to explain something, but they add more questions to that something, and they add more. It makes the problem appear even bigger. Instead of breaking into steps, instead of seeing through simplicity, instead of seeing it humbly, they overestimate, they overachieve, they raise the problem to a higher level, which then becomes a little bit an issue, because you can only solve a problem if instead you create a map of the problem, put some boxes with descriptions, plus put some arrows, flow of thoughts, a diagram or a graph, or if you explain with words and equations. In order to understand and describe reality, we need to do it through steps. And these steps can be several things. It can be several lines of code in a computer program. It can be several lines of reasoning, as solving for an equation in calculus or solving for integral derivative. It's by doing this slowly, with steps, with a great organization, very, very well organized. And it's this organization, this completeness, that you reach that goal, that uniqueness, that unity, and then you solve the problem. Now, you can only do that if you do it like that. Same thing with a teacher. You can only have students understanding your point of view if you're very patient and if you do it piecewise. Don't expect much if you just add more problems to the students, and if you make it even more challenging for any learning process to occur. And this is what we learn in student teaching. As a teacher, we learn that it's important to understand what it feels like to not understand the subject. It's to understand what it feels like to struggle with mathematics. And being a mathematics teacher, if you know how it feels like to have the struggle or to have the difficulty understanding, you can throw in some key points which can help the student, help you teach and help the students. It's what philosophy is all about. Philosophia, so Sophia, wisdom, right? Love for wisdom, philosophy, philosophia. So, and this is the only way communications can flow nicely between subjects, between people, is if there is a concern, there is a carefulness into transmitting the knowledge as it should be. And in order to approach a complex problem, we need simplicity and a little bit of humility. Actually, humility is never too much. And of course, when I say humility, it's also important to be in a balance. Neither red or blue in the middle. Neither left or right in the middle. This is how we should be when we're interacting with people. That way we become open-minded and willing to learn more even when you're the teacher.